Warning, the show may contain some crude humor and mild swearing. Listener discretion is advised. This show is produced by Geek Happy Network, constantly curious about the things we love. If you enjoyed listening to Smorgasbord, remember to subscribe to the show on Spotify, YouTube, or on your favorite podcast app. Remember to leave a review. We would love to hear your thoughts. This is Smorgasbord!
Welcome to Smorgasbord, a show where we explore the rituals, myths, and all things strange about the world of food. I'm Mick, and here is my co-host,
Angel.
And today we have a special guest. Would you want to introduce yourself, Mr. Special Guest?
My name is Nicholas Ayerbe Badona, and I'm special.
I thought you were going to go on a rap or something.
I was born special. I have special needs.
What kind of special
carbonated
needs do you have?
Carbonated needs.
Carbonated needs.
I need the fizz.
The fizz.
So do I. This is why I'm chugging some Rockstar right now.
Oh.
This is my breakfast smoothie right here.
That is
Dang.
a giant. That's some giant lettering for that
Yeah.
can.
It has 180
Caffeine.
unhealthy caffeine per can.
Well, speaking of carbonated, we are today exploring the cult of La Croix.
Yay!
Did I pronounce that right? La Croix?
There are two ways of saying it. Many people who are fancy like to use the French way to go with La Croix. And then there is the way that the American inventor says it as La Croix.
La Croix.
Right.
Well, just like we should follow the American La Croix.
Because it is an American drink.
Yeah,
Super American. The most
Super-
Midwestern drink.
indeed. And while this popular brand of sparkling water rose to popularity as early as 2002, the roots of it go all the way back to the 80s. I guess before we dive deeper to the history of this cult, let's...
It's older
thought-
than a lot of my friends.
It is, yeah. It's crazy, actually. I was like, oh, it's an 80s drink?
Yeah, I thought that was cocaine.
Yeah.
I think that explains the colors. The color
Yeah.
pattern.
The can design is quite 80s looking.
Yeah.
It's what makes it attractive for me. Because I feel like I'm eating that color. Oh, shit.
You know what their cans look like to me? They look like bus seats, like coach buses. Bus seats. You know, they all have
Yeah.
that funky design. You know what I'm talking about?
I have no clue what you're talking about.
Or
Oh
like
my
those
God.
90s,
Like Greyhound.
Drink cups?
Greyhound bus.
Oh, yes.
Yes,
I do
right?
know what you're talking about. Right. So when you get like a public bus or whatever and you're traveling and like they're just covered in this weird felt that makes
Yeah.
you feel
Like
uncomfortable,
it's a
but
party.
yeah, it's inviting you to sit there.
It's a party on your butt.
No, we haven't.
La Croix,
No.
party in your butt.
Party.
You
Does
play the
feel like
Venga
a
Bus song
party.
from there.
I would say
Okay, back to LaCroix.
Yeah. Well, before we go to LaCroix, I figured we'd explore a little bit about the history of sparkling water and the fascinating world of the non-alcoholic beverage industry a little bit. As a random fun fact, I found out today when I was researching this episode that soft drinks used to refer to any non-alcoholic drink,
Oh.
as opposed
Oh.
to hard drinks, which is alcoholic drinks.
Was there a defining line of the amount of alcohol that you could put before it was a hard drink?
I think by how they would think about it, it would probably be considered a soft drink. It's one of those like, if it doesn't get me drunk, then it's a soft drink. It seems.
Then kombucha. Kombucha is a hard drink for me.
Someone fact check me, but I also think kombucha was probably just in India at the time and not found anywhere else in planet Earth.
Yeah, probably.
So I don't think Americans knew that you could grow bacteria and drink it.
Yeah. And
They
even
probably
like, I
just
mean,
did it on accident
yeah.
and then died.
But I mean, like, even say pop, for example, the sugar there sometimes apparently can, if you leave it long enough, can
It just
ferment.
ferments itself.
Ew. Just a fermented Coke?
Yeah. Or some of them would have like super low traces of alcohol still or whatever. I don't know. I'm no scientist. It just should be the tagline of the show.
I'm not
No
a
science.
scientist.
Smorgasbord. We're not scientists. Well, sparkling water actually roots all the way back to mineral water, which apparently actually has a definition why it's called mineral water. It's water with minerals.
Well, yeah, mineral water tastes kind of yucky to me.
Does it? Oh.
Yeah,
I,
it's
Really?
like
I could never tell the difference between just water and not water. I mean, like when I drink water from, say, the Philippines and the water here, I could see there's a small difference, but
Yeah.
I don't
I'm
know,
pretty
not really.
sensitive to water tastes, I think.
Really?
Because every city water I've tasted is different. And I'm very partial to water from here, but we also
Right.
get it from like the mountains and it's
Yeah.
pure and nice. But,
Yeah.
any other city I've been in, I'm like, is this tap water drinkable? Nope. Like, even though, yes, it is. But it tastes gross to me.
Really?
There used to be this weird spa that I used to go to ages ago, and they always had this like bizarre filter machine that you could like set the pH of the water,
Mhm.
and then it would like filter it, and the water would, arrive in your cup
Oh.
to drink it, completely filtered at your pH desired level.
Oh.
I never tried any other pH but the highest setting, something like a 9.8 or something like that. And the only feeling that I got out of that water was
Acid
that
reflux.
no, it tasted good. No, because it's like more base or whatever.
Oh wait, yeah,
I don't
sorry,
know.
I got
Yeah,
that.
it's the other way. Yeah,
If
I
it's
don't know
low
how pH
pH,
works.
then it's high.
Does
acid.
anyone know the pH scale? Like,
I have no idea. We
We're not
learned about this.
scientists.
Yeah, we're not scientists.
we're not scientists.
It's just a number, man.
But anyway.
Hi there, my name is Kanyeki Kamawe, and I'm the host of the Represented podcast. No matter who you are and no matter where you come from, we each have a story to tell. The Represented podcast explores individuals' life stories with the hope that we can identify with or learn from them. Subscribe and listen to the show on YouTube, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, or even Spotify. You can also check us out on the Geek Happy Network website. That's geekhappynetwork.com. Finally, follow the show on Instagram at Represented Podcast to keep up with the fun stuff. Love to see you there. Peace.
Yeah, well, that's what it is with mineral waters. It just has different kinds of substances, say like magnesium or calcium or sodium, or things that kind of exist in the water. They just kind of dissolve into the water through natural sources. So, for example, there could have a lake with sand or rocks, like limestone, for example, that it might have over time start having the limestone dissolve into the water. You don't really see it, but then you'll have those minerals there.
You're
So by
drinking a rock.
Pretty much, yeah. So by definition, what would be considered mineral water would have at least 250 parts per million of minerals dissolved into the water. So I think it's like 1 part is about 1 milligram per liter of water. So 250 milligrams per liter of water. So it's actually not a lot. But obviously, because the more you have, the more the color will probably take on and wouldn't look too much like water. Now, the reason we do drink mineral water actually dates as far back as the Roman times, thousands of years ago. Even back then, they believed it had some health benefits to it.
But they're not scientists either.
Yeah, they're not scientists either. But according to some scientists, it does make sense to make that mineral water could be kind of healthy because most of the minerals contained in the water tend not to be some things that our body can produce. So things like magnesium and calcium, we don't really just naturally produce that. But there are also some sources that do say that there's just not enough parts of those minerals in the water for it to actually be worth your daily intake. So you'd have to probably drink, I don't know, like gallons of that water to make it worth it.
It's good to hydrate.
So in some ways, you kind of just want to treat it more like a supplement, I guess, rather than a primary source of calcium. The rise of the popularity of the mineral water back during the ancient Roman times also kind of led to the rise of thermal baths. They believed they had some kind of healing properties in the water that could help make them feel better. Believe it or not, there also were like natural reserves of carbonated water back then too. So then they kind of saw that as mineral water as well. So those were seen to be like medicinal or therapeutic, because most of the thermal baths weren't really man-made or artificially made. So they're kind of take the water from these natural reserves of carbonated water, at least for like those thermal baths that used carbonated water. Now, of course, today we see carbonated drinks as kind of polarizing, whether it's healthy or not, but
I can tell you this is not healthy.
right.
I saw somebody who basically copied a BuzzFeed video channel, one of those React sort of channels. Somebody just basically went to Afghanistan and went to an Afghani village and is just making all these videos about like, how do villagers feel about all these things that they don't know. So like they have an episode on donuts, they have an episode on burgers, and it's all these Afghani villagers that have never had any of these things. So they do a carbonated drinks one, and all of them basically like drink carbonated drinks like the ones that we know are famous in the Western world, and they're all kind of like, it's salty. And I kept on wondering throughout the entire video, why do they think it's salty? And then I realized maybe because they've never had bubbles in their drinks, right? Like
they don't know how to describe that.
They don't know how to describe the feeling of carbonation, and therefore they're kind of just saying like, no, it just tastes like this weird salty drink.
Oh, right? Interesting. Yeah.
They hated Gatorade. They loved Red Bull. Very dangerous.
Interesting.
Never Gatorade. So I always thought Gatorade was a little bit salty, like not fizzy. I'm talking about like it has like a sodium-y taste.
Well, it probably has sodium, right?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But like stronger than other types of soft drinks. Is that what electrolytes taste like? Slightly salty.
Maybe.
Here's the current problem with LaCroix addictions. There's only 8 cans of LaCroix in a box of LaCroix. You're essentially having to go every week to the grocery store. So I have to go more often than usual just to buy LaCroix. And here's the other issue. Peach is probably the most popular flavor of LaCroix.
Oh, yes.
And in this current Corona times, it's just flying off the shelves, which leaves you with the more disgusting flavors, like lemon.
Oh yeah, that one's not good.
So then it ends up being a situation where I have to choose mainstream carbonated drink competition of LaCroix, just bubbly.
Bublé.
Michael Bublé.
Yeah. Bublé.
But yes, bubbly. I don't know. I'm sure bubbly is definitely terrible, which is something I don't like it.
I'm like, how can you fuck up like barely flavored carbonated drink?
Hey,
and
naturally
it's just not
essence.
Right, naturally essence, but it's just not as good as LaCroix.
No, it is not. It definitely feels like a subpar product.
Yeah. Feels like the dollar store knockoff. Oh, President's Choice does have.
Yeah.
Do they?
They do, yeah.
They don't.
I haven't tried it,
what is
but
it called?
I've seen
the
it.
Cross.
The cross. What's the opposite shape of a cross?
The satanic cross.
Well, speaking of like carbonated water, do you know there's like a difference between club soda, seltzers, sparkling water, and tonic water?
No.
All of those things disturb me. Like it's always felt like only old people grab a seltzer.
Yeah, seltzer just sounds like old. I don't even know what.
Yeah.
It sounds like, medicated.
Pretty. It's like seltzer is the purer version of club soda. So kind of club soda would be carbonated water with added minerals, while seltzer would be similar but usually wouldn't have any minerals added into it. Sparkling water would be more naturally carbonated water, so carbonated water that you would grab from a spring or whatever. So it's naturally carbonated already. Then tonic water would be carbonated water with quinine, which is like quinine. Yeah.
Quinine.
Quinine. Just the one from the chinchilla trees.
I remember in college, it was the first time I heard of quinine because my friends were trying to make some kind of mixed drink, and they're like, we need club soda or whatever one has quinine in it.
Well, it's tonic water.
And that's tonic water. Yeah, I didn't know. So, like, we went to the grocery store and, like, we bought club soda, tonic water, didn't know the difference. And then we were making drinks, and then everybody got very drunk, and I still didn't remember which one was which.
The internet didn't exist at this time yet? Angel?
It did. We just wanted to wing it. We wanted to wing it.
Could you not Alta Vista it?
Oh my god, I'm not that old.
Could you not ask Jeeves about it?
Jeeves, what's a quinine? No, we just wanted to wing it. Like, the easiest way would have just to look at the labels to see which one says.
True.
But you didn't. You bought them all.
We didn't. We just bought them all.
Well, with carbonated beverages, the name suggests the carbonation itself happens when you add carbon dioxide into the water under pressure. So I guess you give the water a lot of pressure and then carbonate it. Stress them out with real life.
We're drinking stressed out water.
Yeah.
Oh, no wonder we're so stressed.
So yeah, well, the carbonation, it actually makes the drink more acidic as well. So that's probably why a lot of people like pure water to be with a high pH, because maybe it's their way to get away from a more acidic drink. Like we did talk about, you could find these carbonated water naturally. It usually happens with limestone, which is a carbonate rock. So the rock will dissolve the carbon in the limestone, and then that adds the carbon dioxide to the water, which then creates carbonated water naturally. Artificially, though, we had artificial carbonated drinks as old as, I guess, as old as beer has existed, as old as fermentation, because beer is a carbonated drink. But when it comes to non-alcoholic or soft carbonated drinks, that happen only as early as the 1700s, where some British doctor, William Brownrigg, first created it artificially that was just like by accident. In 1767, though, it's when Joseph Priestley, another Englishman, created carbonated water by suspending a bowl of water over a vat of beer, which created enough pressure and carbon dioxide to enter the water, then creating carbonated water.
Wow. Some beer alchemy.
Thank you, beer.
Good job, Jason Priestley. 90210.
Yeah. And then a few years later, Swedish chemist Torbjörn Bergman also discovered the same process, but discovered carbonated water as well, but using a different process, because he was kind of getting sick and heard about mineral water or carbonated springs making you feel healthier. But instead of using beer, he used chalk with sulfuric acid to produce the carbonated water.
That's not gonna make you feel better.
Chalk? Like actual classroom
chalk's made out of limestone, I think, which is carbonate, right?
If you've ever been to like a gymnast gym,
a form of
they have
limestone.
like a bowl of like chalk and they're big blocks.
Not to make carbonated.
No,
drinks,
but I think that's what the sulfuric acid probably helps the pressure,
right,
or something, or the dissolving or whatever. Yeah, but it wasn't really until the 1800s that carbonated water became popular, and that's likely from the pretense of having curative powers. Also with a push to find other drinks to replace alcohol, because people were getting too drunk, I guess.
Prudes.
It got so popular that by the 1830s, you start having more complex carbonated waters by having flavors now added to it, which also believed to not only improve flavor, but also make it more healthier. So you'd see things like ginger or lemon or I don't know, rose petals, I guess, or something.
Or, Coca-Cola original formula with cocaine in it.
Yeah.
That's by 1886. You see J.S. Pemberton adding
Yeah.
that. Cocaine and koala nut. Cola nut. Oh my god.
Like koala nuts?
Koalas
The
like
nuts of
koala.
koalas. Pull it off them.
Is this how Coke is made? Just how
Yeah.
vanilla tends to be made from that other animal's nuts or whatever?
Yep. You gotta yank it fast so you don't feel the pain of the koalas.
You have to go to
Mix it
Australia
with
to make it.
cocaine. Yeah.
That explains why they're endangered.
But what's interesting back then is that you didn't actually find or buy these products in the groceries. Its perception for healing properties and the ability of them to be able to create these chemical concoctions, pharmacists were actually the places you would go to buy a lot of these carbonated waters. If you wanted carbonated water of any sort, you would go to a pharmacy to buy it, because then they would be able to create it for you. It wasn't until the 20th century that we would really see it leave pharmaceutical shelves and enter the groceries or stores. And a big reason for that isn't actually the health reason, it's because of technology. It was during the 20th century that inventions of the glass bottle or bottle caps came to be, and that led to it to leave the pharmaceutical side and enter the grocery and common people's purchasing. Yeah. And that's where we really started to see carbonated drinks not become a health product.
I mean, I guess the reason why I drink LaCroix is because I used to drink a lot of just normal Coca-Cola and other beverage drinks. And basically what I discovered was I think I just like the bubbles.
Me too.
Right?
I don't necessarily like the sugar.
Or I hate the ones that try to replicate actual world flavors, like Fanta is supposed to be an orange or whatever. Orange drink is weird.
Orange drink.
Yeah, orange drink is always
really?
weird.
It's my
But
my go-to.
It's your
You
jam.
like orange?
Soda, man.
It's personal taste, right?
That's it. Orange soda and ginger ale
Yeah.
are like the two reasons I can't. As a fun fact I found, the first time the term pop was used or referred was by a poet named Robert Southey, from a poet named Robert Southey. And according to him, the term pop comes from the popping sound of a drink, which we probably all know when you pop off a cork. But his quote was just so funny. It was like, "We were expected to supper, excused herself on the necessity of eating at the inn, supped upon trout and roast fowl, drank some more of the most admirable cider, and new manufactory of a nectar, between soda water and ginger beer, and called pop, because pop goes the cork when it's drawn, and pop you go off too if you drank too much of it."
That's such an eloquent
yes.
way to describe then we ate some shit
fart.
and then we
Got drunk.
Yeah.
I guess I
Pretty
wonder
much.
what side are you popping out? He didn't necessarily explain what side you pop from.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I want to write
Both sides, I
in that
guess.
language. I wish to write in a flowery way. I don't say pop. People here say
That's weird when you go
That's
to
a Canadian thing now.
it is a
right?
Canadian.
Yeah.
It is a very Canadian thing. Obviously I speak Spanish, so when I was living back home, people would just call them, I guess people just called them Cokes, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's like colas, right? It didn't really matter. Yeah, if you go well, I want a Coke, they'll just be like, which one? Right? Like Fanta.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
But here, if you say you want a Coke, you get literal Coca-Cola.
Yeah, no, you get a Coke. Yeah.
You want Coke, it's different. I think that's a lot of what you guys were saying is, I think, really how LaCroix got popular as well, because that's really how the modern beverage industry is now too. There's a big shift over the past 10, or I mean for a long time now, but I think a lot of the beverage industry is feeling it a lot more nowadays, where it's a big shift from let's try to find something healthier, and obviously now there's just so much competition. It's not just Coke anymore, there's so many different forms of carbonated water or drink options. 7 years ago we were working with vitamin water, for example, and they were like a healthy drink, but they had massive issues with health drinks back then. So when we were doing research there, we found that it was big because then people didn't like drinking vitamin water because it was too unhealthy as well and all that. So it's crazy how all that stuff kind of comes into play. We did when we were doing research there and surveying people. One of the people from Atlanta, I think, all of a sudden just like screamed out. When we asked him what their favorite drink was, he was just like, grape drink. I feel you. But yeah, there's so many different options nowadays. It's nuts. But that's kind of, that leads us to the history of LaCroix. But Nick, why don't you tell us a little bit more about your passion for LaCroix? Because we did bring you in as our resident.
My path towards LaCroix as a resident expert.
LaCroix fan, yeah.
You are the resident LaCroix super fan here.
I think I began... Actually, I will blame my master's degree on that, because during my master's degree, there were like people who were drinking a lot of LaCroix at the time, and I just thought, oh, that's really weird sort of looking drink. I wonder what that is. And then I've always been searching for a path towards like how to get rid of Coca-Cola and other drinks in my life. I had a kombucha period before I met you guys.
Ooh, oh, really?
I had a big kombucha period. And then what I discovered was kombucha is probably so acidic that it did give me actually a lot of acid reflux, which is another. And then sometime in the last couple of years, I was just like, I think just bubbles is what I like.
Yeah.
And then that's how I sort of landed on LaCroix, just because according to them, and there's no proof quite yet, there is zero of everything in whatever they're doing except for their naturally essenced. So, you look at the can, everything says zero. You look at the ingredients, and it says water and natural essences. And, whatever's in the natural essences.
Yeah.
Koala nuts.
Yeah, koala nuts.
I mean, I could
We'll find out. We'll find out.
That's naturally essenced. They actually did get in trouble for that natural essencing part at some point. I think there's like a class action lawsuit against them for that, and they ended up having to say that the natural essences and stuff come from the flavoring, so the flavors are all naturally sourced.
So how do they get the flavor? That's the question for me. How do they get the flavor into the drink without adding anything to the drink?
I think for them they ended up saying
mystery.
that the flavors were all grabbed naturally, but then they're never going to admit that the drink itself is natural, but they'll admit that the flavors are, and they're not going to tell you what parts are not natural.
Right. So is that the magic? Is the magic that it's basically tea, carbonated tea? Is that what it is?
I wouldn't even go as far as calling it tea, but it's carbonated water.
I just feel like there's are they just grabbing grapefruit peels and soaking them in water, and then they're carbonating that?
Well, I think maybe more of like they grab the grapefruit peels and like let it melt or whatever, pull this, dehydrate it or whatever, and pull the flavors from it and then toss it.
There used to be a time when coconut was my favorite.
Oh, I really like that one.
Yeah, I really like coconut. And for a while, and I've never found it again, and I don't know if it really exists or if I invented it in my mind, but there was a coconut. It might have been a dream. I am certain that one day I picked up a pack of grapefruit-coconut LaCroix, and that blew my mind. But it's since disappeared from existence.
You told me about that, and I went looking for it, and I couldn't find it.
Yeah, it has. There are very few pictures of it on the internet too. So I think must have been like a bizarre special edition that just disappeared.
Yeah.
And since it's here, I might as well open it.
Cheers.
Cheers.
That is what happens.
I've never had a can of LaCroix in my life.
Really?
I've never even heard of LaCroix until
you need to go.
I started working in film. The first time I
Makes
heard about
sense.
LaCroix was
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
I think it was a friend of mine, Drea, who was like saying that it's like a film drink. I'm like, okay, well, I guess that's why I don't know about it, because they only sell it to film people. Then I did, as we mentioned, LaCroix was founded in 1981 by the G. Heilemann Brewing Company in
Oh,
Wisconsin.
it's older than me, and I'm
Yeah,
Ooh.
and it's from Wisconsin,
old.
where
The home of
nobody
Habs
speaks
Blue Ribbon.
French. Yeah, but the name
The
actually
home of
LaCroix
Pabst Blue.
comes from La Crosse and the St. Croix River in Wisconsin, which is a river that branches from the Mississippi. That's it.
Wow.
That's it. That has
No
no
French ties
whatsoever.
It comes from Wisconsin,
None.
and it's weird. Like the La comes from La Crosse, and then
Wait,
the Croix comes from St. Croix River. It's like, why don't you just
From St.
say
Croix.
that La Croix came from La Crosse?
they're just like
I'm
it
willing
looks
to bet
cool.
they didn't, but I think it's 100% just them go. This is
Oh, yeah,
marketing genius. That's what.
But
I
the fun,
think.
Yeah.
the interesting about it is the marketing genius didn't come from the G. Heilemann Brewing Company. It actually came when they were acquired in 2003, when the National Beverage Corporation bought them out and decided to rebrand LaCroix to what we know of it today. Now not global. It's owned by a bigger company now, as of 2003, and that's when LaCroix became popular from the rebrand. What's interesting about all of it is that they were like super close to not actually going with this brand, because the National Beverage Corporation actually hated this brand was made, but then they decided to do like a survey, and then the survey came out that the consumers loved that branding the most, so they trusted the consumers, which you don't see a lot of companies do. In my history working in advertising, I had maybe one company listen to my survey results. It's like, this is our strategy. This is what the customers all want, and they're like, but we think that we should go this
They're
way.
like, we
'cause
hate
that's
it.
what we want. I'm like, why did you even hire a strategist if you didn't listen? What?
Hey, you got paid.
Yep.
It's okay.
They paid me a lot of money not to be listened to.
Okay, this is how genius the National Beverage
Get it.
Corporation is. They trade in the stock market under the 4-letter words fizz.
Okay.
That's pretty
Amazing.
smart.
FI
That's pretty amazing.
set under
Nice.
NASDAQ and the S&P. These
Yeah.
people know what they're selling. No.
But today there's like 25 different flavors, what I found, of LaCroix, and 3 different
Wow.
brands.
I don't think I've explored every.
There's 25 flavors, 3 brands. There's the original LaCroix, the Curate, which is the stronger flavored LaCroix, and the Nicolas, which is the cola brand.
Oh, what? My
It's
name?
named
Nicole.
after you. What?
They listened to me.
You got
I felt
sponsored.
The guy looking at all your stories was like, Nicola. Oh,
Holy
maybe we should
shit.
make a cola brand.
I know. Look at this. So they got LaCroix, La Cola,
Yeah.
Nicola, LaCroix Coconut Cola, LaCroix Coffee Exotica. What is
Wait,
that?
where do you
Where
get
do I
I think
these?
get
mostly in the
this?
Oh my
States. I
God.
think we don't get it here.
Damn,
gotta
America.
go to
To
Wisconsin.
go.
We can't.
We need to
We're
go.
quarantined.
You want to go?
Look at all
Pamplemousse.
these flavors.
Well, on the bright,
Yeah, I'm looking at a list of flavors right now.
there's a lot.
I don't see that coconut.
I think they got rid of it. I think it was not
Oh.
favored. Yeah. Pamplemousse was
Yeah.
one of my favorites to begin with, to be quite frank.
But on the bright side, I mean, you could
Cucumber
make your
blackberry? Ooh.
own LaCroix if you have a soda stream. Yeah.
You can?
I mean, it's like a
Hmm.
like
Well, if
there's
you
a
have a
little bit of
soda.
experimenting, but they did say if you want to make your own, you make a soda water or get a soda maker or any carbonated water. Then you could put some fruit juice or the flavors they have, or you could actually look for candy flavoring oil.
Candy
And use that
flavoring
instead.
oil.
So you
That
could put a
is
little bit of
bizarre.
that, a few drops of that into your whatever, and they say that the Cadies of the world apparently are saying that
The kid.
that's the best way to make.
Do you really trust them?
Yeah, I do. They've probably spoken to all the managers.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
But yeah, you could find like candy flavoring oil. It makes sense, right? Like,
That's a very
'cause
good point.
it's a little bit more natural and not really natural, but it might give you a little bit more of a
Naturally
naturally
essenced.
essenced flavor.
Natural.
Yeah. Plus, there's much more
Yeah.
different varieties of flavors in candy flavoring
I
oil
get-
than fruit juices or soda flavors. What I did find, speaking of healthy alternatives, is that you could mix LaCroix with alcohol and make some really good ass cocktails.
Ooh,
Oh, nice.
For
which
sure.
which
So you have your
LaCroix are
basic
you using?
highballs like
What?
LaCroix coconut with rum, LaCroix berry with rosé wine, cran and raspberry with vodka, and pamplemousse with gin. Those are your basic highballs you could start with.
Ooh.
Then you could get more sophisticated with some
nice.
other cocktails. You could get some rum, get some cold brew coffee, and orange LaCroix. You could mix whiskey, ginger beer, and peach
Mm.
pear LaCroix to make a little bit of your own Kentucky
that sounds
Mule.
good.
I think is what
Oh,
it's called.
that sounds really good.
Mezcal, honey, and mango LaCroix. Could make your own some sort of. You
I
could
have
kind of
some
turn
gin.
that to like a mango margarita,
Gonna-
I guess. Vodka, cranberry juice, and grapefruit LaCroix. That will make you, I think, a Cosmo martini if you want to mix it, or a Cosmo cocktail.
Nice, nice.
And then you could have gin, Aperol, and lemon LaCroix. I would drink LaCroix now because
Versatile.
no, you could mix it with alcohol.
You should. You should try it. I found the key lime LaCroix to
Ooh.
be my favorite. But they don't have
Key
it
lime.
everywhere. I was trying to
No.
convince you that it's not the same as lime. Key lime is a whole different animal.
So
Not
were
the
you very
yellow.
confused when you drank Sprite for the first time? Because it's lemon lime.
Sprite?
Sprite
But
doesn't
it's a
taste
lemon
like
lime
either.
soda?
No, I mean we have
Sprite
Sprite.
taste-
We have Sprite in Colombia, so we just assumed. I just assumed it was.
So what
lemon.
do they call
Period,
Sprite there?
right?
Because here we
Just-
call it lemon lime soda, or we don't call it, but that's what it's called,
Mm.
like what defined as.
Good question. Not
Tastes like
sure. I think they
ass.
just I think they just simply said that it was lemon,
Yeah, fair.
Right?
Yeah.
right? Because again, the confusion for me is what we call lime in English here in Canada, in Colombia,
lemon.
is just a lemon, right? So when I was learning English, they would grab the green-looking one and basically say, "This in Spanish is lemon,
Yeah.
therefore in English this is a lemon."
Yeah.
And then it
fair
turns out when I came here that it's a lime.
enough. Lies.
Lies.
So it was just like, okay.
No, you can forget
Um,
about both of those because key limes are different.
Yeah.
They look like
Yeah,
limes.
that-
They look like
that's
the
different.
green ones, but
Mhm.
they taste like magic.
We
Yeah.
should probably wrap up pretty soon, so we might as well ask the two questions we ask every show: Is it healthy and is it good?
Whoa.
It's
It's good.
apparently it's good.
It's good.
I'm gonna go with it's good.
I don't think it's not.
Yeah, I think when it comes to LaCroix,
It's just water with carbonation.
they
Yeah.
do say, like, it's funny, I saw this one article, they were saying, the typical carbonated water is unhealthy because of for your teeth and all that, and then in the comments the bottom is like, yeah, but like you don't see a lot of people with teeth falling off, so
It's gonna take a long
Yes.
time for that. If you really want your teeth to fall out,
yeah.
start smoking.
Or like
crack.
if you want it to
Yeah.
fall off, you
Well,
probably keep
the-
like if you gargle with carbonated water maybe on a glass of soda water and a glass of water.
I mean,
So it's
I will
not
say-
good for you, but
Yeah.
we're also not being exposed.
Yeah,
to
it's
it
not the
on that
worst.
level.
I will say
Mhm.
this, and this is what sort of tempers my drinking of LaCroix. So as much of a fan as I am, I try not to drink
Mhm.
it that much. Though lately, because of quarantine, it's kind of like a fast
Yeah.
drink to grab. I didn't really know that fact or like what it did to teeth until maybe like 2 or 3 years ago. Because
Yeah.
there was a time on a film set that I drank it quite a bit, and I just felt like my teeth were like tingling a little bit. And that's
Okay.
when I realized, and I was like, I could feel it in my mouth, the direct
Right.
correlation between drinking this a lot and then having
Yeah.
that weird tingly feeling in the mouth. It does seem to leave something in your teeth,
For
I
sure.
would say.
Yeah.
Right? And you can taste it. You can taste, like, even right now when I'm tasting the LaCroix, I feel like I can taste it in my teeth a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a feel. If you drink it, there is a moment where you can go too much LaCroix, for sure.
For sure. Well, so what's in our palates today? I don't know. I've been eating a lot of that Malaysian restaurant lately called John 316.
Oh,
do you
right,
guys-
yeah. I
You guys
wanted
have
to
just been
go
door
there.
dashing.
Yeah,
and picking
door
up, or
dashing
what?
it. Yeah, their roti there is just
Yeah.
unreal.
I have rediscovered cooking, which is
Nice.
something that I was doing intermittently. It has also given me the chance to use my instant pot quite a
Ooh.
bit. So I'm using
Ooh,
the
those are fun.
instant pot. Those are fun. I've been making a lot of stews,
Nice.
and it's been working out just fine. But I wonder at what point at what point I should break the wheel on this. Basically, I make a stew. I made a new stew, the
Mhm.
first stew, and then I had leftovers. So then I froze those leftovers because I got tired. I'm not a person that can eat the same thing,
Mhm.
and I kind of forgot that I froze it. Then I went to the supermarket again, and I bought more stuff to make a stew. And then when I got home, I was like, oh shit, I still have this leftover stew. So I made a new stew with that old stew in it. And then I've just been doing this over this repetitive
Wow,
cycle
it's
of
never
adding the
ending
old.
stew.
Oh,
I've been
It's
adding
never
this
ending
repetitive
stew.
cycle of the old stew into the new stew into the
you
instant
making
pot,
whiskey there?
and it's just like every time,
Wow,
huh?
that's
Yeah.
like perpetual stew.
It is a perpetual stew that like never ends. So the old
Oh,
stew
that's so.
lives on the new stew. Hey, it's
I
been
know,
frozen.
but
It's been
I feel so
frozen,
gross just thinking
right?
about because it's like, what if you have eventually you'll just
I
have like
wonder, like,
3-month-old
what?
stew in there.
Yeah. No, but
I
like, how?
suppose,
At what
right?
percentage, though?
In my mind, I'm thinking of it like fermentation. Like, oh,
Yeah.
but there's probably a moment where I should stop adding the old stew into the new one.
Yeah.
No, I want to
That
see how far this experiment can go.
how far this could go for a while.
That's how it goes.
Anyway,
Drink
drink
LaCroix.
LaCroix. That's our episode today. Moral of the lesson.
Yeah.
Moral of the lesson? Lesson of the day?
Moral of the
Story. That's
the story. Lesson of the day.
Lesson
Someone's
of
gotta
the
get me out of this
pamplemousse.
COVID quarantine. Anyway, that's our
No.
episode. That was a long one.
Self-isolate.
That was a long one.
Bye.
Thanks for coming. LaCroix
Thank you for
master.
inviting me. I don't know if I'm the LaCroix master, but I'm a LaCroix.
You are
LaCroix.
now. This is Smorgasbord. Have a ritual, myth, or something strange you want us to explore? Send us a message through Facebook at Geek Happy Network or email us at team@geekhappynetwork.com. We'd love to hear from our fellow Smorgies. This show was created by Angel Lynn and Mick Narciso, hosted by Angel Lynn and Mick Narciso, edited by Mick Narciso and Bianca Guico, logo and graphics by Angel Lynn, music by Mick Narciso, and videography by Bianca Guico.